It's been a big political night here in South Florida. Thank you for joining us for the CBS News Miami post-debate special. I'm Jim Barry.
And I'm Nasha Sherman. 5 presidential candidates took the stage, hoping to chip away at former President Donald Trump's lead in the polls.
And I'm Elliot Rodriguez. We're here with our colleague Jim DeFede, who just spent 2 hours in a conference room watching tonight's debate.
And with some bad pizza.
Oh. It was free. It can't be
free,
bad.
that's true. All pizza's good at the end of the day.
Especially on Alexis.
All right, let me rephrase it.
It was delicious.
Let me rephrase it.
Best pizza you've ever had.
The pizza was the best part of the night so far, because the debate left you a little wanting.
All right, we're going to talk about it. But first, let's get down to CBS News Miami's Morgan Rhino. She is at the Adrian Arc Center where the debate just wrapped up. Morgan, we know that Jim didn't like the pizza, but did you like the debate?
Did I like the debate? Well, there were some pretty heated moments throughout the debate. One of the big moments of gasp, there's always a few moments of gasp in any debate, was when they were talking about foreign policy. And we spoke about foreign policy being a big topic leading up to this debate, but it took up not only almost the first entire half, but leading into the second half hour of this debate as well. And they were talking about China, and Vivek Ramaswamy was talking about TikTok, and he actually called out Nikki Haley because her daughter is on that social media app and said that she needs to check her family first. And Nikki Haley pretty much told Vivek that he is scum and told him to keep her daughter's name out of his mouth. So that was one of the biggest moments of gasp tonight. But one of the big topics, and it warranted being the very first question asked tonight, was of President Trump. Former President Trump, even though he wasn't on the debate stage, the first question was, why should Republicans vote for any of you on stage over Trump? And that was DeSantis's first answer. He spoke about how, Trump owes it to the American people to come onto the stage and answer some of these tough questions. Take a look.
And Donald Trump's a lot different guy than he was in 2016. He owes it to you to be on this stage and explain why he should get another chance. He should explain why he didn't have Mexico pay for the border wall. He should explain why he racked up so much debt. He should explain why he didn't drain the swamp. And he said Republicans were going to get tired of winning. Well, we saw last night, I'm sick of Republicans losing.
Like I said, foreign policy, a big topic tonight. Not only was Israel question number 2, it was questions number 2, 3, and 4, maybe even more than that. One of the first questions was basically whether or not you support Israel and what you would tell the prime minister to do. And every single person on that stage tonight said very clearly that they support Israel's right to defend itself. Vivek was the only one who really differed here. They spoke about the economics, Social Security, fentanyl, abortions in that second hour of the debate. So we'll get into some more of those at 11. I'm live in Miami. Morgan Reiner, CBS News, Miami.
Morgan, thank you. And we heard Morgan, of course, reference that heated exchange between Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy, where she actually called him scum. Let's take a listen to that sound.
How do you get TikTok banned if you use it?
Well, I want to laugh at why Nikki Haley didn't answer your question, which was about looking at families in the eye. In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter out of your voice.
Adult daughter. The next generation of Americans are using it. And that's actually the point. You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy answer.
Ouch.
Yeah, wow.
That was a Will Smith moment. Keep my daughter's name out of it.
No, but really, isn't there sort of an unspoken etiquette that you're really not supposed to bring other people's families into the political debate?
Yeah, well, the etiquette is gone.
Yeah, it's out the window.
And this is what Vivek Ramaswamy, his campaign is about. It's about trying to create these viral moments. He started off the debate by attacking one of the moderators, Kristen Welker, like going after her in a repeated manner. Kristen Welker, much to her credit, just smiled, remained above the fray, and let him sort of punch his way out. But that's the problem that you have on a stage like this, is because Ron DeSantis is trying to make you know, a forceful case, albeit a boring one, as to why he is the best candidate. Nikki Haley is trying to throw shots as well as talk policy, and Vivek Ramaswamy is out there just trying to get clickbait, essentially, by being over the top and exaggerated and being every bit as much of the sort of, as I described earlier, the testosterone-driven, you know, fool that he can be at times.
Yeah. Well, we expected it to be Haley versus DeSantis on a number of issues, and as Morgan Minor talked about, they both did address the issue of Israel and exactly how that issue should be handled. Let's listen to what they had to say about that.
I would be telling Bibi, finish the job once and for all with these butchers, Hamas. They're terrorists. They're massacring innocent people. They would wipe every Jew off the globe if they could. He cannot live with that threat right by his country. The Hamas should release every hostage, and they should unconditionally surrender. I'm sick of hearing the media. I'm sick of hearing other people blame Israel just for defending itself.
The first thing I said to him when it happened was, I said, finish them. Finish them. And the reason is I worked on this every day when I was at the United Nations. And we have to remember that they have to, 1, eliminate Hamas, 2, support Israel with whatever they need whenever they need it, and 3, make sure we bring our hostages home.
It's interesting because we've seen Republicans take a really hardline stance on the Israel-Hamas war, with the exception of Vivek Ramaswamy. Very different than what we're seeing with the Democratic Party right now, especially the more liberal side of the Democratic Party that seems a little more torn on how to handle the issue. Will this help the Republican Party when it comes down to voting?
I think this is one of those things that we talked about earlier in the night, when you have difficult situations and trying to talk about them in a comprehensive manner. To be honest with you, I don't know anyone, even within the Democratic Party, except for extremists, who are not supportive of Israel. Where the conversation gets difficult is on the way in which Israel is executing the war.
Absolutely.
and the civilians within Gaza, and to equate sometimes the defense of civilians' casualties in Gaza as being, if you are supportive of their rights, then you must be supportive of Hamas. Right. That's where the issue gets thin. What you heard is none of that nuance tonight on the Republican side. What you heard was just strident, finish the job, go in there, wipe them out. And I agree with that. But, there's a nuance to this that gets lost in these debates.
But I would add one thing, Jim, and the moderators didn't bring this up, is they all said how much they support Israel, but nobody said, should Israel now occupy Gaza? Should Israel be in charge of security in Gaza, which is what Netanyahu wants and what Joe Biden said he doesn't want? I didn't hear that.
Absolutely. You're right.
There was another candidate who did not take part in this debate. He chose rather to be in Hialeah. Larry Seward is there, where former President Donald Trump spoke for more than an hour, right, Larry?
Yeah, Elliot, the former president spoke for an hour and 20 minutes on that stage behind me. Thousands of people in this stadium in Hialeah, many of them sitting in those picnic chairs behind me. The last words the former president spoke to the crowd here: we will make America powerful, wealthy, strong, proud, safe, and great again. Now, what's happening right now behind the risers and the media work area here, that is what we're calling the spin room. There are surrogates of the former president. They're meeting with the media and answering questions, but the former president minced no words about what he feels is at stake in the Republican primary and November's election next year. Listen.
Because this race is not just about beating Crooked Joe, it's about defeating the entire rotten, corrupt, and tyrannical establishment right now that you have in Washington, D.C.
Well, the former president, he did address criticism that he was not at the debate in Miami. He said that there are candidates, I believe, that are debating tonight. He said that the viewership of the first debate was low and that he was speaking in front of tens of thousands of people. And so he clearly made the right choice being here. Those are his words. His supporters gave a very loud cheer to that. Again, he spoke for an hour and 20 minutes, and many of those thousands stuck around to hear every single word. Live in Hialeah, Larry Seward, CBS News, Miami.
Larry, thank you so much. And he's right about the viewership. It did dip to 10 million, but 10 million is still more than 10,000. But
yeah, but quite a turnout there tonight in Hialeah. We are just getting warmed up, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Third GOP presidential debate wrapping up not too long ago in downtown Miami. And we haven't talked too much about Tim Scott or Chris Christie, but yes, they were on stage. And they did talk about the crisis at the border and about the issue of fentanyl coming across. Let's listen.
We should close our southern border for $10 billion. We could close our southern border for an additional $5 billion. We could use the currently available military technology to surveil our southern border to stop fentanyl from crossing our border. I've already led on legislation that would sanction the Mexican cartels. If you remember the path, the precursors come from China. Then they are manufactured in Mexican labs, and then the Mexican cartels bring them across our border. By sanctioning their accounts and eliminating their cash, we starve them of what they need.
The first way is exactly as you suggest at ports of entry. We have to beef up what our law enforcement has in terms of technology. I would invest in that as president. We need to make sure that law enforcement has every tool at its disposal to do it. Secondly, on day one, I would sign an executive order that would send the National Guard to partner with Customs and Border Patrol, both at ports of entry and at the open ports of our border. Customs and Border Patrol agents are overwhelmed. There's 200,000 encounters a month over the last 11 months. We simply do not have the man and woman power at the border to be able to deal with it.
Okay, right now let's turn to CBS News political director Finn Gomez, who is in the debate spin room. And Finn, you're in the spin room. Who are you hearing advocates say won and who lost tonight?
Well, we just have Tim Scott, the senator of South Carolina, just walking just a few inches by us to do an interview. But, immediately after the debate was over here in Miami, we saw surrogates come out from the campaigns really trying to spin, thus the spin room, who won. We've heard from some Scott advisors. We heard from some Nikki Haley advisors, Ron DeSantis aides and advisors, surrogates, all saying that they were the ones who won this debate. This third one in the presidential cycle, but there were some memorable moments all around. I think Nikki Haley had some very memorable and notable moments. She is the Republican who's had the most momentum in recent weeks. If you look at the recent polling that we've seen, but also there were some really big moments between her and Vivek Ramaswamy, the biotech entrepreneur, really going after each other on certain issues, including social media, including TikTok. There was a very memorable moment when Vivek Ramaswamy referenced the fact that that Nikki Haley's 25-year-old daughter used TikTok after she had criticized it for using it, and she said, "You're just scum." A very memorable and poignant moment there in this third debate.
Yeah, it certainly was. Ben, we got about a minute to go here. You think anybody's going to drop out after this tonight?
That is a great question. I don't think so. I don't think that is the current trajectory. I do think by the next debate, we do expect the criteria, the threshold, to be a little bit higher, including polling numbers and fundraising. So that will be the question. Can those candidates, those that are on the bubble, if you will, really make it past those hurdles? That's something that we'll have to see and wait and see how that develops.
Finn, it's Jim DeFede. It's kind of interesting watching the debate because you can always tell where people stand based on who they're attacking. And it seemed like Nikki Haley was getting a lot of incoming, and she was throwing it right back at Ron DeSantis as much as possible. Could you get the sense that dynamic was really the one to watch? Vivek Ramaswamy honestly trying to squeeze his way in there, but it was really Nikki and Ron DeSantis going at each other. I'm curious as to how you think that played overall.
Jim, that is a great point, and it's great to talk to you, Jim. But that is a fantastic point because those are the two that are really battling out for that second place position, really trying to outmaneuver each other to be, if you will, the option, the alternative to Donald Trump, who is now the dominant fundraiser according to most recent polls. So yes, that is the dynamic. Who can be the viable second option, that alternative, if you will? So I mean, in the next few weeks, I think think you're going to see more of that, Jim. And I think this is just a precursor for what's going to intensify as we get closer to the Iowa caucuses. And a quick reminder, it's only 68 days away until the Iowa caucuses.
Yeah, I expect things to only intensify as the stakes get even higher. Finn Gomez, thank you so much for the front row seat tonight.
All right, it's very interesting. You know, it's interesting that this debate's going back and forth, and I don't know what you guys think, but I think some voters might ask the question, are these debates still useful?
Well, I just want to make one observation. They were going back and forth about TikTok and how TikTok is corrupting our youth and how TikTok is being used by the Chinese government to steal our secrets and to corrupt our society. And then they go to a break and it's a commercial for TikTok.
Wow, that is ironic.
And then you hear somebody say, most of the people in the audience probably have TikTok on their phones.
You know, Elliot, I just want to pick up on a point. You know, you in talking to voters, they keep telling you in your pieces that you've been doing about how important the economy is, affordability is. You know, they tried to ask them questions. Give us specific solutions that you would have. If you're president on day one, what would you do to really make people not just feel better about the economy, but have it show up? And I'm not sure I really heard any of them address it in a way that is meaningful. And again, it goes back to that idea. These are not easy problems to solve.
But isn't that what they are running against? They're running against what they call Bidenomics and the economic hardships that people are feeling right now, and they are blaming Joe Biden for it. So be it. Then what are the alternatives that they're presenting? I didn't hear too much of that.
I didn't hear a lot of it either.
Yeah, and there we go. So they have another chance coming up at the next debate in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, I believe it is.
That is correct.
Next month, and we'll see if the field is even narrower then. 5 candidates tonight, and of course, a lot of people think that now the field needs to narrow if there is going to be a viable Donald Trump alternative. But of course, the Trump voters, they may not want an alternative, judging by what we saw tonight.
Yeah, we saw that huge turnout tonight in Hialeah. Trump voters out in full force, and even heard one soundbite where she said, "I'm not a Republican, I'm MAGA." So are we going to see a new party develop called MAGA?
All right. We'll see. Thanks so much. Thanks for watching us on the CBS News Miami Debate Special. Plenty more coming up on CBS News Miami at 11.
See you at 11.